Hi everybody, all my followers, be welcome to another video. So the video today is on this 2015 Vauxhall Corsa CDTI. So I believe it's the 1.3 diesel. I'm not sure if these models come with the same engine as the previous models. So this is going to be the Corsa E, I believe. But yeah, so the car came to me because of a lack of power. The car is actually in limp mode. When you start the engine, it actually tells you is in restricted mode or something like that. And it sounds horrible. That's the first thing I can say. So let me start the engine. Oh no, look at that, straight away engine power is reduced. So I don't even need to start the engine. There it is. The engine sounds really... It sounds bad. It doesn't sound bad, but it sounds like something's not right. That's it. So, what we're going to do first is we're going to give you a scan and see what the engine is complaining about. But before that, just before that, we're going to do a quick visual inspection. See if we can see anything that, I don't know, just have a look, really. And here we have, it looks like the same as my Corsa, same engine, or yeah, it looks the same, or very similar at least, but it looks the same engine, to be fair with you. A couple differences here. I don't think my one does have these here at the back, or at least it looks like different. I haven't looked at my engine for a long time, to be fair. But yeah, everything looks plugged in. Someone cut these off here, so looks like someone has been here already. This is now in place. It's supposed to be up here. That's just broken. Okay. Some other stuff down there that is not in place, but overall, it doesn't look. There's a lot of oil around the turbo. Jesus, a lot of oil around there. Other than that, as you can imagine, just looking like this, you can't really see a lot unless would be something really obvious. So let's gonna give it a scan, because that's the best approach, and that's really the only thing we can do next to try to start to understand what the car is not happy with. Right, so I had to come for a drive because I was actually making a video. I'm making a video for this tool, and first time ever using it, and somehow I managed to delete the codes. So obviously, when I was to carry on recording, I had no codes. So I had to come for a drive. To be honest, as soon as I left the driveway, the engine light came on straight away. There's no restricted power or whatever that was yet, but the car feels really sluggish. You put your foot down and the car, it drives, but you can feel it's restricted, you can feel there is no power, and you can feel it's really sluggish. So what I'm going to do now is drive back home, give you a scan. Hopefully I will not delete the codes again by mistake. But yeah, the car is actually good. I came for a drive because I can feel what the car does. But yeah, the car is really sluggish, and there's definitely no power. Not sure yet if it's the turbo that is not kicking in, or if there's some other type of restriction. But hopefully the trouble code will help us out to figure that out. My God, this thing, oh, it fell into bits. Oh my God. I heard something falling over. What was that? Oh dear. I just drove back home. As you can see, there is no message for the restricted power wherever that was. But we do have an engine light, as you've seen. What I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly actually put here, because I'm recording the video for this with that phone, so I'm going to put here a screenshot of all the faults. And obviously I clear the faults, and now we're going to see the faults that actually came back. So let's kind of have a look. Engine control module. So we have cylinder 2 balance system. That could be a few things. Turbocharger, vane position performance, low position. So that most likely will not provoke that. That most likely will not provoke that. Thinking out loud, I think. So let me actually, okay, so I actually had to go on my phone now and see what the other two codes were. So the camshaft position, okay, it didn't come back. So, and the oil pressure control switch valve stuck off. That didn't come back either. So, right, I'm not really sure how to proceed from here. So I think that's where I've cleared the codes. I pressed yes last time. Data stream. Which data stream we do have? Injection data. Let me have a look at the injection data. Let's start it up. Oh, come on. Okay, it runs really bad. Let me actually show you before we go any further. It definitely doesn't sound good. Right, as I said at the start, first time using this tool, there's a couple of things I'm a little bit confused with. Like if I come here, for example, it shows me there oil temperature -40, then it shows me ECT temperature -40, desired idle speed, there's nothing there, camshaft positions, doesn't show me nothing there, oil pressure switch okay, engine runtime shows zeros, engine is running, engine speed doesn't even show nothing there, cam speeds, no sorry, then it tells me there's some malfunctions there, intake temperatures -40, then all of that shows zeros, map sensor 0, but then if I go back here, ambient temperature -40, but now the the barrel shows in there okay, and then still showing -40s. Now it shows my engine run time, now it shows any engine speed on here, and then all of these I'm a little bit confused. Some -40. Induction data. Barrel shows 0. Now it shows engine speed in there. little bit confused with this live data. So that's idle speed correction only. Maybe ignition data, see what we have here. Give me 0 volts in there, then tells me it's okay. Now it shows pressure there. Why does it show on every single one the same the same as that? And I could swear I saw somewhere one of them reading okay. Look, meal requested by DTC. No, you have an engine light on. Oh, this is not very good. Not really sure what to think about this. Not really sure. So, first problem for the turbo. Not found the cause, but found the problem. So what I want to show you is that the turbo, let me put the light. Right, so a little bit noisy, but hopefully you can hear it. So that's my lever for the turbo. And I'm going to disconnect the pipe, which in this case is connected here at the back, on the second pipe from the back. And when I disconnect this, can you see the lever? I'm going to connect, disconnect. You see, it barely moves. Can you see that? So I'm going to connect it. When it's connected, that lever should be doing this. And he's not doing it. So let's gonna figure out if we have a bad vacuum solenoid or a vacuum valve right there at the back, or if we do have something else wrong on this. And obviously, before we start to blame valves or anything else, the first thing we're going to do is give you a test to the actually vacuum actuator on the turbo, make sure that's good. So the way I'm going to do it is we're going to unplug the pipe here at the back. Let's see if I can pull it back here so I can show you. You can see this pipe here. It comes back there to this thin pipe, which is then the pipe that goes down to the turbo. So I can't take that off because that's bolted in there, but I can do it here at the back, and we're going to test it to see if we can retract the lever. So I'm going to connect the vacuum gun right there on the pipe. There it is. Now we're going to put some vacuum. There we go. Can you see that? I'm going to release. There we go. So that's working good. So if this is working good, something else is wrong. So my next check is going to be back there, make sure everything is connected correctly. So next test I'm going to do, just because I can, is make sure the vacuum from the core or the vacuum coming to the valve is okay. And the way I'm going to do it, I can reach both hoses here at the back. You see them in there, both of them. So the engine is going to be running, so it's going to be a little bit noisy, but I'm going to still point in the phone to the lever. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to literally just joint both hoses at the back, both pipes together. So I'm going to connect the vacuum directly from the pump into the turbo actuator. If that drops, then most likely we'll have a valve issue. Could be a wiring issue to the valve. I already unplugged it. It could be obviously a wiring issue to the valve. We'll have to do some checks, but yeah, that's what could be. That's what we're going to do next. I'm going to point the phone, start the engine. It's going to be noisy, so I'm just going to do it so you can watch what happens there. as you have seen, nothing wrong with the vacuum on the car. Let's go to check the solenoid. Right, so the valve was a little bit dirty inside, but nothing major. The membrane doesn't look split to me. Looks good, so that's a good thing. There's a lot of dirt inside of this, don't know why. We're gonna wash clean all of this, put it all back together, and you see there's a lot of dirt in there. Look, can you see the dirt in there? You see in there? It should be no dirt. Yeah, exactly. Should be no dirt on this side, because this side is the vacuum side. So unless, so this is the breather side. Yeah, it should be no dirt here. Could this be preventing this from sealing? That's going to give you a wash. This is working, by the way. The valve is good. Let me just show you there. You're going to be able to see there that when I apply voltage, see, so the valve is good. Let's clean these, wash all of these, put it all back together and see what happens. So looks like I might found the issue. So the membrane is good, as I explained, but right here at the bottom there is a valve. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, probably not. There is a, look, you see, there's a small valve that goes there for the atmospheric pressure, for the hose that connects to the airbox, and this was not sealing. So what happened was I put it on the car and would only make vacuum if I would stop this, which means that these would have to be passing, and then when I would block this, then it would work. So it looks like it's okay now. I've been trying to put vacuum with this hose. All the way around. It looks like it's working. So let's put it back together and give you another test. Let's test it again. Okay, so that is not working. So what I'm doing is, it looks like, so there is two springs. There is one at the back on the plunger, on this sort of plunger there, and then there's one here at the front to push this back. Now this needs to be, the two springs needs to balance this right in the right place. So it's enough for the vacuum to be pulled through here, but not enough for this center to push into that middle valve that I showed you earlier, onto that valve, and open the vacuum, because then it will only work if you block this here. So this needs to be kept in the right balance. So what I'm doing is I'm stretching this spring a little bit. It looks like this spring lost its balance, if you will, its pressure, and the system is not balanced. The two, and this in the middle is not proper balanced. So I've stretched it a little bit. This is just for test purpose. If this works, obviously we might have to get a new valve. That's all we can do, but at least it will be enough for us to test. And as soon as I plug it in this time, there's only security with 1 volt, and that should be okay. As you can see, it's all the way down. I'm just going to show you if I unplug the vacuum. Come on. Go. Now let me plug this back in. There we go. You can hear the turbo spooling as well, so is not everything put back on properly, but will be enough for us to go for a test drive. And strangely enough, I was just about to go for a test drive to do and to clear the codes before we go. And obviously I have all of this stuff. I've been unplugging that, but look at that. Look what came back. P0610. Will we have a bad chain on this thing? Man, if this is a timing issue, this is the third in a row. If you watch the channel, you'll have seen, I don't know if they're all going to come in now in a row, but this is the third in a row, pretty much, with timing issues. Wow. Anyway, let's clear this code still. And this was just with the engine idling here. Okay, so all the codes are gone. Okay, I want to go to live data. And I want to look through induction data. There we go. These two, mainly, that's the two I want to look at. Turbocharger, maybe that one. Desired vane position, maybe that one. Position sensor. Yeah, that will do. That will do. Let's put that at the top. Let's start it up. It's putting some pressure, which is good. That's not on the same thingy. Anyway, let's go for a drive, just see what happens and see which code comes back. Right, so I know I didn't show you the before, but what do you guys think? Not too bad. But it looks like, if you look in this area here, it looks like it's overboost a little bit. You see that? Definitely needs a new valve. Obviously I messed with the spring now, but the thing is, at least it proved the point that the valve is wrong. Or if faulty. I don't even know if it's the right valve for this. If it's the right valve for this particular car. I'm just going to carry on driving a little bit, but the car definitely has boost. The light hasn't come back on yet. Hasn't come back on yet. The clutch on this thing is gone. Jesus, I just touched the clutch and the thing starts to... Oh my god, this thing is knocking. What the heck's going on? Oh my god, it's smoking. Let me go back home. I think it was when I accelerated in there, something must have happened. I think it might be something with the chain. It definitely has boost. You've seen the live data, so it definitely needs... Oh my god, it's smoking now, which was not doing it before. Yeah, something happening there when I pressed the clutch and it kind of revved up. But that code for the timing or the camshaft, whatever that was, obviously that was my next thing to look at. So we're gonna scope this, check the timing, see how the timing is, but I have a feeling, and the way, so what happened there, guys, was I accelerated and I pressed the clutch too early, not too early. I think the clutch, yeah, it looks like the clutch is at the end of its life. As soon as I press the clutch, I pressed the clutch without taking the pedal off the accelerator, and as you've seen, it revved up a little bit too much, and when it did that, it started to make this rattling noise. Yeah, I believe the chain. I'm pretty much sure it is the chain on this thing. Yeah, it's gonna be the, I don't want to drive anymore. I just want to go back home, stop this. We're gonna do we're gonna scope the timing just to establish if it is a chain issue or not, and then it could be that this thing just jumped a tooth. That would explain the balance on cylinder 2. Could do, although if that was already jumped, if it's, oh my god, I'm just here thinking out loud. I don't even know what I'm talking about. If that was already out a tooth, could cause the code, could cause the balance, but would have not caused the balance on all the cylinders, not just number 2. Yeah, when I accelerate, it's smoking, which was not doing it before. Something definitely happening there. Oh. Yeah, it looks like the chain. Let me put the phone at the front so you can actually hear it. I hope it doesn't break while I'm here. And the engine light came back on now, just with the engine here idling, as you have seen. I didn't stop the engine, and look what we have. See? Something for ether, performance sensor, doesn't really care, and then the balance, but the turbo didn't came back. So I think, okay, let's gonna check this chain. So before we proceed, let me just take you through. So I had to dismantle, so I removed the cap from the plug. The plug is 8 plug, it's A, B and C. The top one is the one for those sensors. Crank is 3 pins, cam is 3 pins. I only need really the crank, because the camshaft one, I can actually back probe in there, but the crank is going to be somewhere, wherever. I had to dismantle the plug, take these rails here from the side, so I can now push the plug back in. Now 83, 84 and 85, as you can see there, but right there the start being 77. So then we're going to count and try. So is these here straight after this gray and blue. So is there 77, 78, 79, 3 blanks, and then so forth. So that's how we're going to do it. I'm going to push these in by hand. Oh. Yes, that's it. So now let's gonna get the scope, get everything ready, study up, and take a sample. And there he is. It's pin 84 for the crank, and I don't know which one is there, but here is the top one. And there we have it. Now let's go to check these against a good one. So this is, so the last clip you saw was on 7th of August 24. Today is the 16th of August 2024, so 9 days ago. That was the last time I worked on this thing, and on that same day, and I think the following day really, I've spent a fair amount of time in hours, let's say a few hours, try to look for a good waveform for this thing. In the meantime, in all fairness, I got stuck with other things, as you might gonna see on the channel. Well, you don't know, but yeah, I got caught with some other cars. But yeah, I spent some time trying to look for a good waveform, and I could not find one. Then I read somewhere that was one on a, I think I can say, there's nothing wrong, on the Pico database. Now, to access the Pico database, you need to have a Pico scope. So I've asked someone that does have a Pico scope to have a look for me. And he looked, and he sent me a few of them, but he said, look, that particular engine code is not there, and the waveforms he sent me, they were all different anyway, for different 1.3 engines, but they were all different from the one I have, which I don't think I've showed you yet properly, other than while I was actually reading, while we were actually sampling with the engine running. But hopefully when we get to the end, we going to be able to compare the one I had before with the one I have after, and then I will have a good waveform, hopefully. And this is because, guys, based on the code, I'm going to go for it. Based on the code, I'm going to go for it, because without a good waveform, I can't 100% determine that this is a timing chain issue. So my only way is going to be start dismantle. There's no other way it's about. So we do need a valve for the turbo. We know that. That's going to be, that's a no-brainer. We already showed you that that part, but now is the problem with that code for the timing. So I think with no further ado, we're going to start dismantle stuff. I do not have a timing chain locking tool for this, but someone is going to lend me one. And we're going to do it. That's it. So we're going to start dismantle stuff. I'm not going to go through the A, B, C on how to do this. Surely there's videos out there explaining you bolt by bolt how you do this. We're just going to start dismantle, get to the bottom of this, and confirm or deny that we do have a timing problem. And it is enough for today. And I tell you one thing, what a job. If I'm wrong, oh Jesus, I really hope the code is correct and that the timing is actually bad. So unfortunately this is a lot of work. So far I got here, okay, so I got all of these out, water pump out. I'm ready to take the cover, ready to take the top bolts, it's just the bottom. I was just now in position to start to lock the engine, but unfortunately to put the tool here, so it locks here, there's a plug here you need to remove, and then there's a tool to go here, but unfortunately you need to tilt the turbo a tiny bit, at least for the tool I have, otherwise you can't do it. So basically I had to remove the catalytic converter and DPF out. I had to drop it purely because you have 3 bolts or nuts holding the turbo to the exhaust manifold. There's 2 here, and then there's 1 that's accessed from the underside, but unfortunately the cat and DPF are on the way. So the only way to do it is drop that out of the way, so you can remove that bottom nut, and then you take these two. You don't really need to take the turbo, so the turbo is loose, as you can see. I don't know if you can see there. So I can move the turbo, see there on the bolts, and that's all it needs. It's just a little bit of a tilt. So you see, I removed this here on the bracket, and that's pretty much, you see how much it moves from there out of alignment. That's pretty much all it needs for the tool to get in. The tool, if I'm correct, I'll have to double check, that is one of these tools. Okay, that's the one I need. I think that's the one I need. I hope that's the one I need. But yeah, that's, so I don't think I need to take the wall turbo. If we need to do with this one, which I'm hoping is not this one, I hope it's not this one. If it's this one, then yes, the wall turbo will have to come out. But I don't know yet which one is. So for the time being, I think that's the one. At least that's what the diagrams shows me. That's the one I should use. So the tools are all in there. You need to take the SEM off, because on the cover there is, from the underneath, from the inside, there is two nuts holding the bottom of the cover. So basically what I'm trying to say is, it is a lot of work, and I'm not even 100% sure that's my issue. I'm only based on the code so far, because as I explained, I couldn't get a good known waveform to be able to compare, unfortunately. So that's where we are, really. Now I'm working over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, day shifts. So I guess the next time is going to be probably for Monday. Okay, I don't know, 3 days later, I think we are back onto this. So I've been working on that BMW, just finished all day, a waste of time. Well, I don't know if it's fixed or not, time will tell. But you most likely will have seen that video already anyway. Anyway, that's nothing to do with this car. So first, I ended up having to actually remove the turbo, because I was using the wrong locking tool. Because this locking tool seems that is not for this engine, it's for the old ones. This long one, which Elder lent me this with one already broken, which is this one here, if you can see there. So that's already broken. Ideally you need two, but to put the one at the back, you would have to take the intake off as well. But I'm only interested, to be honest, in lock this one at the front, which is where the timing chain runs. The connection between these two camshafts is then, I believe, two gears here. So for these to jump on the gears, then something else would have to be really, really wrong. And there is really no way for the car to know that this is out of time, in a way, because there is no sensor for this side. So there's only a sensor for this. So that's where the car is going to measure the timing. Now the car is locked. I'm going to show you. See if I can show you here. So that's it. I can't push it anymore. I can go backwards a tiny bit, but I can't push it anymore. And as you can see, this is locked. But when you come down here, I think I'm going to have to put the light on the phone, because otherwise I won't be able to show you this. When you come down here where you lock the crankshaft, the pin doesn't go in, look. Can you see that? I know you can not really see, but the pin needs to go a little bit more to be in place, and it doesn't go in. So that to me is what it shows me that is out of time. So what I'm going to do now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this while recording, but we'll try. What I'm going to do is I'm going to I'm going to jog. I think that's the name. I'm going to jog the crankshaft. I'm going to put this hose underneath here to put a little bit more pressure on this pin, because the spring alone sometimes doesn't really work. And I'm going to, like that, to help pushing the pin, and I'm going to jog the crankshaft back and forward until the pin gets in. But I think if the camshaft, if the chain is stretched, that means I have already passed the locking point on the flywheel. So I will have to turn the engine backwards a tiny bit for the pin to go in. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Well, let's go and try that. seen that? Have you seen the pin going in? So all I had to do was, oh dear me. So all I had to do, as I was saying, was pull the crankshaft back a tiny bit, which means this timing chain is stretched, and when the camshaft locked, the crankshaft was already past because the timing chain is too stretched and allowed the crankshaft to move too much. Does that make sense? If you understand engines, you will know what I'm saying. So that's it, guys. So that's it. So now, now that the engine is fully locked, all we're gonna do is remove the cover and have a good look. Now, I don't know if that timing chain kit has all the tools, because I believe you need a tool that goes up here, and I don't know if it's going to be there. If not, the kit for this is about £95. Oh dear me. We'll see what we do when we get there, but for now, let's gonna take the cover, take this thing here. This, guys, is left hand side thread, so you'll turn to the right to undo. No, sorry, it's left hand side. Yeah, it's left hand side, so you turn right to undo the bolt. Yeah, it took me a little bit to get there. There is a locking tool for this, which we're going to try to use as well, to hold that so we can take the center bolt. So let's gonna do that and see if we can get to the timing chain today. Okay, it's pretty much 8 PM right now, and I'll tell you one thing. This thing, you need to dismantle half of the engine. Such a bad design. Fair enough that timing chain is not something you're going to be doing very often, but Jesus, you need to remove obviously the sump, and when I was trying to take this off because of the pickup pipe, you need to remove this sort of support that goes on the bottom of the engine. I'm not really sure what this is called, but yeah, you need to take this bit off as well, otherwise you can't really slide the cover off. But even though we walked into this job without being 100% sure that the timing was out, although as I explained to you when I was trying to put the locking tools, everything started to become a little bit more clear. The truth is, it's so good when you get to the bottom of it and you see that you were right. So first of all, look at this cover. Look at that. You know what that is? Look, you know what that is? Yeah. I don't know if it's been touching anywhere else. Doesn't look like. But yeah, it's been definitely rubbing there. And let me pull this bulb up so you can see a little bit better. I'll put it somewhere here. I'll show you this when there is better daylight, although it's not really necessary. So the timing chain is, oh my god, I thought this was supposed to have some plastic on the side. So first of all, look at this. Look, the tensioner is fully extended. If I put any tension on the chain, there is a gap there at the back. You see? This is all. Look at that. Definitely done. Definitely bad. That guide at the back, I don't know if you can see there. Can you see there? How this guide is in there? Look at that. The chain has just been shooing that. But the interesting is, it should be a plastic thing here. Oh, look at the timing guide. Look at that. There's a hole behind it. Wow. So where is the plastic bit that's supposed to run in there? Because I haven't seen it. And surely that doesn't run on a metal thingy. I haven't seen nothing underneath, so is anything on the pickup? No, the pickup is pretty clean. Wow, where is the guides? Where are the guides? I haven't seen nothing on the oil. There's nothing here. Wow. unless that thing completely shoot everything. Unless that's a metal guide. Usually I've never seen a metal guide. But this chain these days, Jesus Christ. Look at that. Look at the back there. Look at that. There's a hole here at the back. Look. Oh man. Okay. So problem found. 100% timing. The code, the trouble code didn't lie. And I'm just trying to see if I find the bloody guide somewhere. Unless the guide has been, it wouldn't be. It would be at the bottom, 100%. If that would have dropped from there, it would have been at the bottom. Yeah, we're gonna. Oh man. So yeah, gonna take that off. Get a timing chain kit for this, and yeah, this is completely extended, completely extended. Yeah. Wow. Sorry guys, I'm not showing you anything. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Right. There's no point to be here looking at this. I'm just going to start to remove all of these out and get ready for the new timing chain. So one last clip for today. Look at the state of this thing. Look how bad. Focus. This thing was. Wow. Now I don't know. Is this a metal guide? It's supposed to be like that. Might be that there is. I'm not really sure, but it is. It is bad. Wow. I'm surprised this thing just didn't really jump badly and damage stuff, but luckily it didn't. And you jump forward pretty much 2 weeks. I had a lovely week down in the south of England with family in Cornwall. If you never been there, I would advise you to. Really beautiful. And yeah, a little bit of a rest. And that doesn't even matter for the video, but yeah, it's been pretty much 2 weeks since the last clip. And right, today I've been pretty much all day just cleaning stuff. I'll show you where we are. But the first thing I want to say is that I do have a timing kit. It was a little bit of a, I'm not going to say a challenge, but I had to convince the owner to do this properly and actually buy the full kit, which when I put it back, when I install it, you'll see everything that comes included with it, because the guy was just willing to put the chain and the guide. That's it. That's all he wanted to do. You can buy just the chain and the guides, but he wanted to leave everything else, which I was a little bit not very keen. So I advised the guy to just do things right, and he ended up agreeing with me, and so we bought the kit. Now the kit, yes indeed, the guide, obviously I thought that's the way it should be. So the guide for that side is going to be this guide, and as you can see, indeed it does have a plastic cover. That's where the chain runs, on a plastic guide, not metal. I could not find, so I ended up removing this sort of guard underneath the bottom of the engine to see if somehow the plastic bits would have gone on the top of that. I can't find the bits anywhere. So the only thing I can think of is that maybe the sump has been removed at some point, maybe to check something, I don't know, and they found the guides in there, and they found the bits of plastic, took them off and just sold the car, something along those lines. I'm not really sure. The bits, the thing I know is that it's pretty much impossible for the guide to be completely worn out by the chain, because these top bits would have to break and it would have gone somewhere, and the only place where they would have gone is pretty much on the sump. There's no really, I mean, they could have stayed on the cover somehow, but look guys, I don't really know what could have happened. To be honest with you, it's done. And what I've been doing pretty much all day today is I've been cleaning all the surface. So I've cleaned the sump, I've cleaned everything else, as you can see, the cover, everything is cleaned, ready to go back in, including obviously this part here. So everything is cleaned, all the surfaces, etc, etc, everything is ready to go back into place. I already ordered a brand new turbo solenoid, so we're going to replace that regardless, and we are pretty much ready to start to put things back on. Unfortunately, I cannot start because I need some new tools, so I ended up having to buy the proper timing chain toolkit for this car, because the one I'm using, as I said at the beginning, the one I'm using that my colleague lent me is not the right one for this car, and we need some tools to hold the sprocket here at the top once the cover is back into place, etc, etc. I will take you through everything when the time comes, but yeah, that's what it is. I can start to put things back on, but I'm not I don't want to do it yet until I actually replace this locking tool here with the correct one, and yeah, that's pretty much where we are. That's it. So at the moment we are just gonna wait for the for the toolkit, which I thought I would get it today because I bought both things at the same time. The timing chain came this morning, and I thought the toolkit would come this morning as well, but he didn't, so he's probably going to get it tomorrow or something like that. But that's where we are, guys. That's where we are. That's it. So, oh, what a job. What a job. And as I'm starting to put things back together what I can, because as I said, I need a toolkit to actually put everything right. I just wanted to look at the difference between the length of the old chain and the new chain. So new chain on the right, on the left, sorry. There is how much that chain has stretched. There it is. Okay, so I've started to put things back together, as you can see. Nothing's tied up yet, everything is loose, but I've started to put things back together. I ended up removing EGR cooler, turbo out, because I wanted to see this. Look at the amount of oil inside the manifold, and was literally oil absolutely everywhere. So I advised the guy that he should replace or refurbish the turbo, which surprisingly he agreed to. All I wanted was just to make him aware that if he didn't want to do it, then, well, at least I warned him. But he said, yeah, go for it. So as you can see in there, look at the amount of oil inside everywhere, inside the turbo. The turbo is definitely as play. I know you probably can't hear it. Sideways as well, but definitely this turbo is leaking. And because we came this far, I just thought it would be really a shame to just not do it. So I spoke with him, I advised him. He said, oh look, if you are that far already, just go and do it. Which surprises me, when initially he just wanted to put a chain and some new guides and leave everything else, to now actually want to do things properly. It's I don't know, at least we're going to get the job done right. So yeah, so we're going to carry on. Obviously now it's a little bit more work. I'm not going to take you through the turbo cartridge replacement. I already showed you that plenty of times, but we're going to refurbish the turbo, etc, etc, and yeah, and carry on with this. Right, so following day, and I finally received the locking toolkit. I will show you where all of these goes in due course, but for now the main two things I really needed was this part and this part, which the kit that Helder lent me didn't come with. Cartridge, I couldn't get it locally, so I have one on order, should be here tomorrow hopefully. And as for this, so I have everything pretty much now in place. So the kit comes with a new squirter down here. This is a new squirter that bolts right here at the back, somewhere behind this. No, sorry, right there. So it's like a long pipe. New tensioner, new guides, new gasket, new sprocket, new bolt, new sprocket, and then I have the new hub. The new hub and the new bolt and the new, where are they? They are here. So new bolt for the crankshaft, new hub, and new seal. Now, because none of these sprockets have locking pins or keyways or whatever, so as you can see, that's in place. This is in place, but all of these moves freely. Okay, nothing locks. We're gonna have to use the locking tools to lock these in place, including the relector wheel here, this trigger wheel, if you will. That's on the sprocket. That needs to be in the correct position, and that's where those tools come in. But for now, I'm going to replace this thing here, I think, and we'll go from there. Right, so I'm going to show you how to put these locking tools now, which I think is the most important part of the process, if that's what you're looking for. I will show you the bottom later when we do torque the bolt for the crank, but at the moment I have the alignment tool. Now the alignment tool goes like that, just goes in with the bolt. It's just hand tight, but you need to put that locking tool, or that centering tool, that's what centers the timing cover. So obviously when you put the bolts, there's still a little bit of movement that the holes, etc., allow the cover to move, and that tool is what centers everything in there, and that goes before the new seal. Okay, so the seal will go afterwards. Then up here I took all these covers. We still have the pin on the tensioner, and up here this is the two parts of the two tools, so you just bolt that in there like so. Okay, and then you remove the bolt that's here. I already removed it. And then you have to, I left these pretty much in place because I knew roughly where it would go, but now these should go in there. So these two sort of pins here, if you will, they go on the holes in there, and then this little pin goes right there at the back. Don't know if you can see there, little hole goes in there. Okay, and that should go like this. And now I'm gonna need two hands, but now we're gonna put that bolt in there, and a couple bolts here if I can put them in, and that should hold everything in place. To then in the center you are able to tight the bolt. And then there is another tool that goes at the bottom, but I'll show you that later. Right, so important bits, the cover, so everything is back in place. The tool is in place, as you can see. I'm ready to torque the center bolt for the camshaft. Now the cover is 4 Newton meters for the first stage, and then 9. I gave it just a tiny bit more. That's obviously at your own discretion. Bolt for the camshaft, 150. Now this is the bit that can be a little bit scary, because the only thing that's going to be holding the camshaft now is going to be the locking tool here. Now, as I said, there is a toolkit. I don't know if that's the correct procedure or not. You guys on that side can comment if you know. I don't know if the correct procedure would be to remove the pump, put the other locking tool here to hold the camshaft. I'm only using one locking tool. I'm not using the locking tool on the other side as well, which is a thing that probably should be done, but it's so difficult to access here at the back. That's a little bit tricky. But obviously the camshafts, to come out of sync between them, they would have to jump on this. I guess it's going to be a gear here between two of them, so I don't think that would ever happen. But yeah, so I'm ready to torque this. Hopefully everything will go okay, nothing badly happens. And after this, we'll have to pull the pin out there and then lock, and then do the bottom center bolt. Right, quick note here, just to make you, just in case if you guys are wondering. Obviously, I just torqued the 150. I gave a tiny bit more, but nothing crazy. Obviously, before we remove any tools out, we need to do the bottom, because just remember, the bottom, if I take this off, just remember this is a left-hand side thread as well. But obviously, the sprocket at the bottom is not locked, is not tightened yet. So if we take any tools and the top moves, it's going to slide, the sprocket at the bottom is going to slide, and then, oh well, you take everything out of timing. So we need to do the bottom first before we take any tools out. So, bottom bolt, that's how I put the tool. Okay, and I left the tool to rest here on this pulley, so any pressure goes on here. So first stage 50 Newton meters and then 90 degrees. Right, and I'm finding it a little bit tricky to, I just put this piece of metal here in between to spread a little bit the load on this wheel. But anyway, I'm finding it a little bit difficult to put the gauge here, the angle gauge. So what I'm going to do, I marked there, so that's not going to move because this is holding it, and we have the bolt there. So that would be, so that I put a mark in there. I don't know if you can see it. So full turn will be 360. That down here would be 180. 90 would be this over here. I put a mark in there. So we're gonna twist this bolt, turn this bolt, tight this bolt up to there, and that will be my 90 degrees. Now, because this is a really thin thread bolt, even the 50 Newton meters is quite a lot of force. So I'm guessing to turn those 90 degrees is not going to be easy, but we'll get there. So let's gonna do it and then remove everything. Well, I will show you after, or I will explain after. And there it is. I don't know if you can see in there. 90 degrees from there. Mark in there. I went a little bit over, if you can see there. Mark is, I'm gonna show this there. I went a little bit over, but that's the paint from the bolt coming off by the looks of it. Or is the little O-ring. There's an O-ring at the back of this bolt. It's probably the O-ring being smashed up, but that doesn't really matter. What else to say? That's it. So now everything is locked. Now we're going to take all the locking tools out, including the flywheel, that and that. Rotate the engine by hand a few times and then give it a go. Then try to put all the tools back in, make sure everything fits okay, and that should be it. If it fits okay, that means everything will be fine. Okay, so rotating the engine by hand now. I think this is the first full turn, 360. There we go. I know because of the two short plates in there for the trigger thingy. So, okay. Okay, so that makes now 2 turns. Okay, 720. Now let's give it another one. Why not? So 720 now. Oh. Oh. There we go. The little hole for the pin coming down needs to go on the side somewhere here. Okay, so not sure if it's in place, but we'll try. go. So it needs to rotate a tiny bit more. Ah, damn it. You shouldn't turn backwards, but I'm going to do just a tiny bit. I think that should be it. Oh, really? Okay, let me answer the phone, put the tools, all the tools in place, see if they fit, and then if it fits, that should be done. And there we go, everything fits back in. I only put the corner bolts this time, there's no point to put the other ones, and I put that one. The tool here fits absolutely perfect. I don't know if you're going to be able to see the crank pin right there. Can you see right there at the bottom? I'll put an arrow, and if you can see, but it's fully inserted. So I aligned it absolutely fine. In here, I'm going to show you this. I'm not going to put the tool here because there is really no point, because I already checked with the mirror and the torch, and it's going to be, but there we go. Can you see the cut for the tool to go in there? There we go, so it's perfectly aligned. Don't need to put these there because I know it's gonna go in just perfect. So it looks like we got this right first time. So now it's time to what? Put these covers, take all the tools out, start to put all these covers in place, etc, and start to reassemble. And pretty much that's it now. I'm going to try to reassemble the bottom of the car because we have obviously that engine bracket that goes at the bottom, then the sump, all the brackets around here. I can do all of these and leave the turbo for last, because obviously first I don't have the core yet to rebuild the turbo, but the turbo can go in after all of these anyway. I'm not going to put the bracket here for the engine just yet because it's easier to do with the engine like this, completely loose, because I can tilt the engine back and forwards. Gives me a little bit more room here at the front for the DPF, etc. But looks like we are getting there. So I think the next time you're going to see me is going to be probably when everything is ready to start, because from here, guys, there's nothing else that I need to show you. Is literally just reassemble everything, and then I guess I'll show you the end result, starting the engine. I should get the turbo solenoid, this thing. I should get it today or tomorrow as well. So I think the next time you're going to see me is literally ready to clear the code, start the car, and hopefully we'll have a fix. Fingers crossed. Right, so I just finished it off. I put the battery on charge because the car has been here off now for 2 or 3 weeks or whatever, and I don't know the state of the battery, but as you can see, the turbo, new cartridge. The other one was definitely leaking bad. And I've been here just checking and double checking everything. So 4 liters of oil, new fuel filter. I took the opportunity, I didn't tell the owner, but I'll tell him. I put a new fuel filter because the other filter was about 4 years old. Was stamped the date on it. Coolant, obviously I believe the coolant is going to drop when we start the engine, but it should be everything done in order to start the engine. The only thing I haven't put yet is the shield for the turbo, and I still have the old turbo solenoid because I haven't received the new one yet. I bought a genuine one, but I haven't received it yet. But that should not affect the timing chain issue, so we should just be able to start it. Now I've been under the car while the car was here in the air. I tried to understand where that bracket, if you remember, came from. I can't see where that is from. It's not missing anywhere, so I really don't know where that is from. Don't even know if it belongs to the car. But all the brackets are in place. The exhaust is in a quite bad shape, to be fair. Special towards the back, the back box, etc. is quite rusty, but there's no brackets missing, so I don't have a clue where that's from. But what I want to do is scan the car and clear the codes, because if you guys remember, the code for the timing chain would come up straight away as soon as I would start the engine. So, but I haven't even turned the engine other than doing it by hand. So this is going to be the moment of the truth. I'm just going to clear the codes and then we'll start this thing together. So I have already cycled the ignition a few times for the fuel pump to push the fuel through the filter. Just gonna go quickly to the ECU. Let me see if I still have any codes in here. Yeah, I do have plenty. So obviously, I believe it's the same codes. Yeah, it should be cylinder 2 balance system and all that stuff, plus the P0016 for the position of the camshaft. So it's gonna erase all of these. Okay, no trouble codes. Now this is the moment of the truth. Either it's gonna start or it's not gonna start. Right, shall I double check things again? I think I checked and triple checked everything, so I don't think I need to go and do that again. Right, clutch. Whew, what's gonna happen? Oh my god, he's running. Okay. And he's running really good. Really smooth. Perfect. Perfect. So now, I haven't got any codes yet. Haha, no codes. Oh dear. Looks like we fixed it. Haha. So, I'm just gonna let it to warm up a little bit, just to make sure there is nothing coming up. Just a couple of blips. Yeah, looks good. It looks good. There's no leaks. Everything's fine. There's definitely no leaks. The turbo retracted, which is good, but we're going to replace that solenoid regardless, because obviously I've been messing with it. And I think what I want to do now is, and that's the reason why I left all of this here, I want to do another check of the timing, because I want to see the difference. Yeah, it looks good. Looks really good. Looks really good. Obviously, the tire pressure, I don't have the front tire here. The tire is inside the garage, so obviously it's detecting that. Let's look at this again. It looks promising. It looks really promising. Right. Let me just... I think what we're going to do next is just wait for that solenoid. Put that solenoid, put the cover back on, and go for a good test drive and see how the car drives. But for now, I'm gonna finish to assemble this wheel, put the wheel arch liner in place, put the wheel back on because everything is good, and yeah, and take a sample of that timing, because as I said, I could not find the timing anywhere, and I think it's gonna be really good if I manage to save one from this engine. And just before we go for a test drive and see if the car drives okay, although I still awaiting obviously for the solenoid for the turbo, but what we have here is on your left hand side we have the stretched chain. Here we have the one I just took now when I started the engine now after the repairs, and as you can see before, as you can see there, so right there where it goes up goes somewhere halfway through there. Okay, but it's the same on both. So that one, the drop on the camshaft here is pretty much in between this gap here. Okay, same there, but the difference is if you do not include that one in there where the drop is, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you come on the good one and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's your difference here. I have another couple of pictures which I'm gonna load to show you also another difference. And here we have another position on the camshaft crankshaft relation. And as you can see, the before again, before and after. The before, as you can see here, this trigger on the camshaft is aligned with that drop there on the crank, perfectly aligned. And when you're going to go there, it's pretty much one gap difference, so one tooth difference on the camshaft. When that trigger comes up, is pretty much one tooth ahead on there. So basically, guys, the timing, it didn't jump a tooth or anything like that. Luckily, only happened was the fact that the timing chain was stretched, and therefore the difference, that stretch of the timing chain that I've showed you when I compared both chains, that difference was what was making this here. Okay, so this is the difference now. So now I have a good timing, a good known waveform for this particular engine, which again I couldn't find anywhere, and I've asked people around and everything. No one could provide me one. Now I do have one, so that's it. I just thought it would worth maybe to show you. And now, yes, we're gonna wait for that turbo solenoid, and then I think I'm gonna be ready to go for a good test drive, test these. But I have no reasons now to believe that we're gonna have any other issues, and hopefully this will be a fix. So don't go anywhere, and I will be testing this soon, hopefully. Here it is, the new solenoid. So we're going to install it, a genuine solenoid. We're going to install it, and finally, hopefully, wrap up this thing. Okay, and here we are, driving this thing. I don't know why I've inflated all the tires. All the tires looks okay, and one of the tires, this shows me, what does it shows me? No, how you do this? It shows me 12 psi, which is clearly wrong, so not really sure. But to be fair with you, that's not what the car came for. So we're going to ignore that. The car is driving fine, I would say. Smoking a little bit, but it was smoking way worse when I first started to drive. But obviously the car was just there idling. I just had the car idling for some time. The whole intake system, as you have seen from the turbo, was covered in oil. So I think now, until all that oil is sucked in and burned, etc, etc, he's gonna smoke a little bit. It's getting better. So you know, when you start to drive, if you ever worked on things like this, you know, you start the first drive after that, and you launch a puff of smoke and etc, and then it starts to clear. So that's exactly what he's doing. So I can see through the mirror that it starts to clear, especially when yeah, look at that, now pretty much no smoke this time. So yeah, it starts to clear, and he's driving absolutely perfect, which was the main thing. Obviously the turbo is boosting really, really good. The turbo is boosting really good. Look at that, perfect. He's pulling really well, driving really smooth, no problems at all. So I'm going to drive for a little bit longer, and then we'll give you a scan just to make sure no codes came back, and that will be it for this. But yeah, let's gonna carry on driving for a little bit and then wrap up this thing, because I'm sure this video is already long enough. Okay, so as you can see, the tire pressure monitoring system light is now off. Was indeed a low pressure on this driver side rear tire. As you can see, I put it on 32, I think, or 33, and it's already at 31. So it's slowly, there is a puncture on that tire basically, and that rear caliper is also binding quite badly, because when I was inflating the tire, I've noticed that everything was really hot around there, around that brake rear wheel, and definitely it is binding, so that needs sorting as well. But hopefully that will be a problem for someone else. Now for this, driving absolutely perfect. One is okay, I'll get there. So it is driving fine, power is there, it's driving absolutely perfect, no issues at all. However, randomly it is coming up with two issues. One just throws a engine reduced power warning there, and if I clear the code, it comes back up, it comes back okay. The other fault throws actually an engine light. Two separate codes that comes up, but I think I'm going to capture that on a different video because this video is probably long enough and I don't want to drag it anymore. This video, if you will, was purely for first issue, as you have seen, guys, was the turbo not actuating okay. The second issue, as you have seen, someone has been changing. I showed you the start camshaft sensors. Well, I think I don't need to explain what the problem was. We got all of that sorted. All of that is fine. The car is driving okay. When it's driving okay, as I said. I think the water is circulating. There's air in the system because the temperature, I've noticed, has been fluctuating from like 70, then goes to 90. I think there's air pockets, and as the water is still circulating and filling those voids, the temperature as that fluid goes through the sensors is messing up a little bit the temperature. I got some water with me just in case, or some coolant just in case. I've just checked, so far it's still at level, so I'm not worried. But yeah, as I said, guys, it's fine. So what I'm going to do next is we're going to wrap up this video for now, and I'm going to start the next video because the two issues that the car still has, I think they really need to be sorted, because otherwise, I mean, I can't leave the car like this. So I'm going to let the owner know that there is another two issues with the car, which I could not see, obviously, without driving the car with the first problem repaired. Otherwise, I couldn't guess these two problems over here. But that's it, guys. So with no further ado, we're going to wrap up this for now. This video was mainly for the timing chain, as you guys have seen, and for the turbo valve, which that's all fixed. So with no further ado, guys, I do really hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something. If you do still have any questions or any comments, you know exactly how it works, just put them right below. And like always, thanks for watching.